Hello and welcome to new SEOCharity event. We have Dre and Anton with us today. We'll be talking about personal branding for SEO, and Dre will share a very personal story. And before we go about that, Anton, a few words
Yeah,
about
I'll
Olesia.
do usual boring stuff. SEO charity is I think we introduced more than 3 years ago. It's a charity project, but charity based on SEO people trust. Any charity you need a trust because you're not gonna give your money for someone you don't know unless it's huge organization. We are not huge. We basically we are Olesia and myself and always in our brilliant guests. This project running for more than 3 years. The charity idea is to collect money for cats and dogs small shelters. When I said small shelters, it might be up to 120. One of the shelter has 120 cats actually. So it's all together. We're now supporting 5 shelters, regular supporting 5 shelters, and it's more than 300 animals. When I started this project, I started it because I couldn't really just stay aside. But sometimes I feel, should I start it? Was it a good idea? Because this is a project you can't stop. Cats, they want to eat every day. They unfortunately get sick, and well, not every day, but regularly, unfortunately. So money needs all the time. It's not like charity project when you can get some money and say, yeah, we got a goal and it's finished. So this is, yeah, every day my worry. Okay, guys, donation is absolutely purely voluntarily. So if you want donate, you have this. Oh yeah, okay, you have these things. Also we have. If you want this T-shirt, this is our member regular donator T-shirt. You can get it if you subscribe. It's $10 a month. Yeah, and we'll print this T-shirt on my own money, and we'll ship it. We won't use donated money to T-shirt. So yeah, okay, okay, Alicia, it's all yours.
A few words about Dre. I think everyone knows who this is. It's very, very legendary, I must say. A person who not only does SEO video show who everyone watches. I don't know a person who has not watched some episodes. Or I know lots of people do that regularly. I know that my friend posts every his show in Telegram with detailed description, and people engage a lot with this content. Everyone loves Dre because Dre loves people and loves what he's doing. And today we'll know how he became so successful in what he's doing. And it's as with many other people who became very successful, he had some, I'd say, not so lucky event preceding it. So, Dre, can you say a few words about yourself and what we are going to talk about today?
Of course, of course. Thank you, Alicia and Anton, for having me on. And then, Anton, thank you for sharing out Santo's photo to everyone. Except, Buddha's feeling a little left out. He didn't see his photo posted, shared out when you sent my Buddha. All right, but yeah. So Buddha and Santo are my two fur babies, and I'm glad to be here for SEO charity. And if you guys be sure to click that QR code and donate today. And so I want to let you know that I've been in SEO for about 20 years now, and I've actually started. Like everyone else, it came just as something not planned. I was actually a web developer out in college. I got a multimedia degree in web design, and I was actually making websites for people. And then eventually, kind of came into to doing SEO. They weren't teaching SEO at the time back then, 20 years ago. And then at the time where my first success in SEO was when I used to have my own clothing line. I used to rank number one for streetwear, and streetwear was a popular term and still is a popular term right now. I mean, I don't rank number one anymore, but I was ranking number one for streetwear for my company called Filthy Dripped. It was a streetwear company. I was a small boutique store out in Berkeley, California, on Telegraph Avenue, and so that was one of the ways that SEO has actually helped me in my career growth in business wise. And then after that, I was actually going into um, uh, the nightlife industry, where I was actually doing parties. And so I started ranking for San Francisco nightlife, San Francisco parties, San Francisco guest list. And that drove in a lot of leads for my guest list, right? And so I had a lot of people at my parties and stuff like that. And eventually it died down a bit. Back in 2008 was my first challenge. 2008 where the store had to kind of move off. I ended up losing my house because there was also kind of a crash back in 2008. So that was kind of my first downfall, where it's like, okay, I can't be an entrepreneur anymore. This is hard. So that's when I started looking for a job. So this is the first time I actually went to find a job. This is back in 2000, around 2008, right? So 2008 was 2006, 2008 was when I first started looking for a corporate job. And I was picked up by a company called SuccessFactors, which ended up getting acquired by SAP. And that became my journey into enterprise SEO. I went from SAP to like smart recruiters, and then startups like Anaplan, which actually went public. There's Buddha, there's Santo. There we go. Love it, love it, love it. So those are the two fur babies, Buddha and Santo, Santo Nino for short. Or Santo for short for Santo Nino, and so those are my fur babies there. So so I got into startups, and Anaplan was one of the startups that went IPO. And I was actually at the company, which was awesome. And then I decided to go back into testing out like a more mature company, and it was like Workday. And I was there for about 5 years now. So the fast forward to like current, like after 5 years at Workday, I wanted to kind of get a little more challenge and test the waters. So I went back to a startup, which also became where I was the first time I was ever laid off after 20 years. I mean, it was pretty sad. And the thing is, one thing, if I thought would have been able to get a job easily. I work for great companies. I know I'm a hard worker. And I drive results. I have that digital footprint that everyone always talks about on their resumes or like on applications. They're saying, hey, has a digital footprint and actual of all my case studies I put out there. And I was like, after about maybe 8 months, nothing. I was like, maybe after 6 months is when I actually started feeling like, actually, I'd say after 3 months, because now I have no income. I was starting to use credit cards, and then this is when I decided to reach out to my network. And by maybe the 3rd or 6th month, I spoke to Jordan Kooney, the head of Previsible, and a legend here in the SEO industry as well. And he became my coach, my career coach. So I feel like once if you really want to continue your I'm going to call this a professional brand. I'm going to do professional brand and personal brand, because when you want to really go into still finding a job, it's kind of hard building a personal brand when you're still trying to get a job at the same time, because you may be sending conflicting signals. And so that's one thing where I actually removed the SEO video show from my LinkedIn profile, because Jordan kind of looked over my profile. He actually gave me feedback on my career pitch, on what I was going to when I was pitching to other companies. I would say I applied to hundreds of companies, and and probably just had just as many interviews. And I was moving along with all this feedback. And one of the things that really helped was making sure I had a really nice sharp photo. One tip on my LinkedIn was I was actually getting more calls, not putting an end date at the company that I was laid off at. When I put an end date, for whatever reason, I got recruiters stopped like hitting me up or anything. That when I put it back, I was still employed. And then while I was applying, I was actually still, and then they started coming in, which I found like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then again, with the photo is very key. I don't know if you remember, if you go back a few years ago, I had a pretty funky haircut. And it's like, it was one of my brand, right? I thought I had a pretty interesting haircut, and I actually put that as my profile photo. And you know what? Whether it was my personality or not, I don't think it was. I don't know if it scared people away or if it was just too like out there for people. But I reverted back to like one of my more professional photos.
It might scare some very serious people, because you were not looking very, how should I, not corporative look.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know what? Hey, there's, you have to follow, you just follow the rules. If you want to get, if you want to go into get more interviews and stuff like that, you're just, there's things that you just got to follow. Don't post any personal projects on your actual LinkedIn that you're using to apply. And so, and Anton, maybe later on you can bring this up as I bring this up. So, like, after about 8 months now, nothing, no interviews, and then I got on a call with Eli Schwartz, and he was talking to me, and it's like, hey, Dre, I think it may be time that you start consulting because I was in the same boat, like where it's like you have so much experience now, and it's like you're just either too expensive or it's not during that time. It's like they couldn't like either afford you. But don't get me wrong. I already started applying. I didn't care about the salary anymore because now I need any kind of job to help me get going. So I wasn't too bad too worried about the salary. But I guess just even with my experience, still kind of scared away companies and stuff like that. So this is where I decided to kind of switch things up. This is where I actually pivoted. I decided to install, while I was still trying to apply for jobs, I just decided to create a second LinkedIn profile that was focusing only on consulting. So I have two profiles on LinkedIn. One, if you go to linkedin.com/in/Paul Andre, that's my professional brand. And if you go to linkedin.com/in/Dre De Vera, is my personal brand where I have all my case studies. And actually, my outreach there was totally different. So I had two profiles working with me, and I was trying to see what
confuse people. If someone doesn't have a link and trying to find you, he might find the wrong one.
I was letting it up to fate find me, which way they found me. If they want to find me for my job, if I want to work corporately, or if I want to get more clients. So I decided to like, okay, whatever comes first, I'm gonna go with it. So, and all of a sudden, I started getting more clients. So I changed my focus on making and focus instead of applying for companies. I started focusing on creating more, getting more clients, right? And I was able to do this by separating my two profiles out. I mean, you can take a look at it, and if you want to pull it up, it's totally different. And of course, my personal brand had the not serious photo of me just smiling, and had me wearing my SEO shirt. It was a really fun profile, and I kind of really, instead of like putting at the jobs I worked at, I put them as like clients. Oh yeah, these are the companies I did stuff for, but these are the companies I actually work for. And so I kind of switched up the way I kind of approached LinkedIn. And so that was kind of the ways. And don't get me wrong. So during this time, obviously, I started the SEO video show, which helped me a lot. Like this is one of the things that actually I would say built my personal brand that I have now, because I do have a decent amount of followers on this profile right here. This is my professional brand, and it wasn't so. It was, even though I had had all those followers. Obviously, I wasn't getting the right connections through like whether it was jobs or anything like that. And so if you go to that one, see, there's two different profiles, two different ways, and I set it up where whichever one wins, I'm gonna go that route. And it ended up it came to a point where I was actually starting to get more clients from the content I was posting. And don't get me wrong, like when you create content, like repurpose it everywhere. Like at one time I just was wondering like, hey, how'd you find me? And they said Twitter. I was like, really? I don't really engage too much on Twitter or X, but it was just me just repurposing the stuff that I was already doing. And they found me on there. So I'm saying, like, when it comes to content, really, really repurpose to all the channels out there. I mean, if you want to build that personal brand yourself, do focus on one platform, right? Like, I was on LinkedIn, but the one platform I chose was YouTube because I wanted to do more video. Video was something I was always passionate about. The SEO video show was a passion project, and then it became a business on its own, where I started building the brand, and now other companies want to advertise on the show. And so now that I was building my own personal brand, I had actually my own SEO video show brand, and which expanded off to like more live shows and meeting other sponsors and that good stuff. And so when it came down to like, consulting, it's where next steps from now, it's like, okay, now I'm consulting, and then you can only do so much for yourself, right? So like, this is the time. I think I'm soon going to start pivoting to like starting an agency. But this is all progression. This is something where like one of the things that you need to do is like, don't you'll have there'll be adversity. You're going to go through some problems and some rough roads, and that's only the time you go bounce back harder, right? So every single time I hit rock bottom, I bounce back like 10 times harder. Like back in 2008, I lost my house, and I lost my entrepreneur. I was able to still get a good job that led me to now where I'm at now, where I now then I lost everything and was able to get it back up with every skill set I was able to learn. I applied to myself. Right. So like, why create two different profiles? In the SEO world, it's like, you're creating personas, right? So you have different personas. So I created two personas for myself. And then so I let things run. And then it's one of the things where, you learn going on the you learn while just doing and like engaging with people. Like I love the SEO video show because I've not only learned by teaching or just interviewing great people, I'm also like connecting with people. I'm connecting with everyone. I always like say your network is your net worth, right? I actually got new business cards and I put that quote on there. Your network is your net worth, because it really is. Like you really need to tap into your network, like whoever's there, and then also reach out to people. I mean, if there's anything, right now, it's like, again, I would say the number one thing that actually kept me on track would be my health. I feel like if I was, obviously getting depressed, I was couldn't do anything. I was drinking, and this was something where it's just, come on, like I'm applying and nothing, like not even offers. It was heartbreaking. And then again, so that's when you have to really kind of pick up yourself. I know it's kind of hard. Not everyone can do this, but you have to find it in yourself to like pivot and just do something. I'll tell you this too. I even went to learn new skills. I actually got my real estate license. I'm actually a licensed realtor now, and I've only got it because I was laid off for the first time. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try different industries. But again, keep learning. Like, yeah, when you keep learning, building your skills, when you skill stack everything, you just become like, I feel like skills is like the new like your own personal currency. The more skills you have, the more personal currency you have when it comes to doing things for clients, companies, even yourself. Man, that was long-winded. Sorry.
No, it's great actually, because I've heard like a few similar stories where people started and lost everything and then from nowhere again, and it's very hard. How did you have this imposter syndrome when you started with the show and everything, and consultant?
Oh no, imposter syndrome. See, that's one of the things. Okay, one thing I did teach myself was having a growth mindset. I would say back in when I was like within the startup, when I was like working with a lot of startups, I got into really like reading a lot of books. I think back in 2000, was it maybe 14 or 2000, between 2014, 2015, I read like maybe 300 books in a year. So that's when my mindset has changed, right? So don't get me wrong. Like, I grew up maybe I was a party promoter. I was all this, I had an ego, everyone has an ego. And so I was able to get past all that and just became, again, just really, really building my skills, reading, and kind of like having that growth mindset. And that's what kind of propelled me to do these certain things. I was, believe it or not, I'm a shy guy. I'm not great on camera. I was scared to be on camera. And what I did was I do more of this something called, instead of goal setting, I do fear setting. Like I try to conquer my fears. So in order for me to get over this fear of being on camera and public speaking, I actually joined a community called Toastmasters. Toastmasters, it's a group where people can learn how to speak more clearly and stop saying ahs, ums, and you give these speeches. And yeah, so that's one of the things that literally, if I didn't take, I was president and VP of education of my Toastmasters club for 4 years. And that's something that you want to make sure. Oh yeah, there we go. Love that. Love that. Keep it coming, guys. Oh yeah. You want to make sure you just, yeah. So I mean, I lost my train of thought there, but Toastmasters, again, personal development is something that I feel that everyone should do when you're building your brand. Or trying to even build yourself up, right? Because I mean, when it comes to building your own personal brand, professional brand, these soft skills are important. Like learn how to communicate, be able to network with others. I know that was one thing I was scared of as well when I was like going out to conferences and networking with people. So here's a quick trick that I was able to do it. Since I love photography and video, and it gave me, I would bring my camera all the time wherever I went. So now you see, like, I do a lot of event stuff and event coverage. That's also to help me network, because people will also come up to me now and say, "Oh, what's that for?" Right? So it gave me a reason to talk to people instead of me just going up to someone randomly and say, "Hey, what you do?" or anything like that. But now it's like more like, "Hey, can I get you on camera?" And then we start talking. It's just a natural engagement, a natural way to network when you do conferences or in events.
If someone wanted to start something that you do, start building their personal brand, because many people are really very shy in our industry. So many of them
Yeah.
are very introverted, and some of them even
Mhm.
say that I've heard lots of such things, that I better do some things I don't want to publish anywhere, and some think that they will have their secrets stolen from them, or that Google will come and do something bad to their websites or whatever else. Many reasons. But if
Mhm.
they decided to build a personal brand, where should the person start? So you have this big world before you, and you are
Mhm.
an SEO, and you
Mhm.
want to build a personal brand. What to do first?
Obviously, I feel like everyone should be optimizing their own name. Get your own domain name. So people search you. You should be able to master that yourself, right? Whether it's your name, if you have a common name, add an initial, add a middle name. Like for me, like Paul Andre de Vera. There's a lot of Paul de Veras out there. There's like Paul Andre. So I wanted to make sure that Paul Andre de Vera was actually my name that was when people search. That's why I always added my middle name in there just to set myself apart, because I haven't seen any other Paul Andre de Veras right there. So being able to optimize your name, find the name or your whatever brand you want to bring to yourself, optimize for that. It's just so important for as an SEO. Do SEO for yourself. Like if you're going to be an SEO, do SEO for yourself. Again, like I said, I applied all the skills I knew to myself. Like and then again, if you do have video skills, if you do have photography skills, like kind of layer that in. Like your brand will have like this great photography. Just because you'll have that one over edge when you skill stack your skills, because you're throwing everything that you know into your own brand and makes you unique from everyone else.
What do people search for more, for Dre or for Paul Andre de Vera? So how do they find you
Yeah,
more often? So your target audience, how do they find you?
Paul Andre de Vera. Yeah, it's what I always put out there. I mean, when it comes to like interviews and stuff like that, you can still find me in Dre de Vera. Like I've obviously was able to uh, build it where I was able to connect the entities. So if you search for either one, I'll come up on both searches. But Paul Andre de Vera is what I promote most. That's where I have like my Google business profile set up, and where I kind of try to push people to you know work with me through that, because then my domain name is paulandre.com. And so and for those that want to email me, it's dre@paulandre.com. So like I use both, but for the most part, Paul Andre de Vera is my legal name. And that's what I tend to like share out all the time when you first meet me, because only close people will actually know me, or if you really know me, you'll call me Dre. So it's funny. This is something where it's like in public, if someone calls me Paul, it's like, oh, okay, we're not friends. We're not really friends. But if someone says Dre, like, okay, I know that person knows me. It's this thing where it's only people that actually know me will call me Dre. And it started as my own family, right? My own family called me Dre at first, and then at school, people called me Paul. And then there came a point where it's like, okay, now if you call me Dre, it's like you know me more on a personal level.
I couldn't help and ask ChatGPT who you are. So, and it's plenty of information, even your picture. I don't think I've seen many pictures on answers when ChatGPT answer. There's plenty of stuff here, and a few links as well. So here we are.
What did you search? That's interesting. I never seen that my photo come up
Me
on
neither. I never seen
ChatGPT.
anyone's color on a ChatGPT answer, but I just asked who is Paul Andre de Vera is, and I got plenty of information with your cover picture.
There you go. See, like again, when it comes to branding, again, when you do personal branding, I keep a lot of things consistent. Like you'll see me always wearing my SEO shirt everywhere. The SEO shirt. Like this is the new show that I'm doing. That's why you're starting to see me wear this, the GBP Roast show. So I'm starting to wear this a lot more, so the brand gets out there. But this logo back here is on every other show. I would typically wear a SEO shirt like that, just so everywhere. Even when I go to
Like
events,
this.
always wearing the same logo. Yeah, always. Yeah, see there, it shows up there. I have different colors. I have blue. I have red. I just the same logo, but it's always something that I keep consistent because when you're building a brand, your logo also will be part of your brand.
How did you decide to position yourself the way you positioned yourself? So, because there are many levels and layers how you can do that.
Mhm.
Why did you decide to go into where you went, and why did you pick SaaS and startups, not something else?
I took it where it led me, like, and what I followed, like where my path took me. It wasn't something I've actually picked um, on purpose. The first company that offered me an SEO job was a B2B company, and then I was able to. It was a startup that got acquired by got SAP, and then so this whole startup life actually was really fun. Here in the Bay Area, like here in Silicon Valley, like startup life is fun. It's true that you see all like the games and the camaraderie, like it's a fun environment. However, it's very fast paced as well. And when it comes to SEO, being fast is something that I love doing, right? Because when you start working at even bigger companies, when it's harder to get things implemented, things slow down. When it comes to SEO, a lot of people love that gratification of like moving up the ranks like faster, and when you're doing things. So when you work at a startup, you're working on a plane while it's flying. It's you want to make sure your the fast pace of it is what really relates well with SEO, in my opinion.
How, like all these companies you're working with, you're
Mhm.
consulting, do they know that you have this video show and that you are doing lots of community work? Because I've seen you helping minorities, I've seen you helping other people on their ways. And do
Mhm.
they know about this? Because I've heard from many people that sometimes their clients, they don't like it, this aspect of their lives,
Mhm.
because they feel that you are not working, even though it's your free time or something like that. But when they see you
Mhm.
on the show, on the conference, they feel you are not working, and they are like sometimes not very happy with that. So, what about your
Mhm.
case?
Exact. Okay, exactly. This is why I removed all personal projects from my professional brand. Like at first, I mean, obviously now that since I pivoted to being full-time consultant, I put everything back on my professional brand. And that's now I just focus just on that one profile. But when I was applying, that was one of the tips that I got from Jordan Kooney. He's like, hey, just remove any personal projects that you have on there, just so you don't give this thing that you're a busy person. I mean, or like you're maybe doing other things. But when it comes to clients, they have nothing. They can't say anything, right? Because clients are your clients. That you're not working for the company. And when I do these other things, they know I have multiple clients. When you work with different clients, you have you're able to work with multiple companies, right? So that's one of the things where it gets you. I feel it kind of separates the two. But yeah, I see why companies would want that and I'll tell you this: I don't publicly mention my clients as well. Like I don't really mention any of my clients too. Just just because of things like that as well. Like I don't want my opinion um, being the opinion of a client of mine or anything like that. So like yeah, kind of keep that private of my clients. And obviously there's some companies where I may be advisor for that I'm open about, but for the most part, they got any company I work with are confidential, and I just keep it silent.
So, how, when you are building your personal brand and you want to attract clients with it, everyone will
Mhm.
tell you that you should start with cases, and all these kind of things. But when all or most of your cases are NDA and you cannot really disclose this information, how do you go about that? How do you show that you are not only someone famous, but you actually have some success behind you at your back?
Yeah. So when I first started, like I mentioned, like I treated like the companies I worked for already in the past, uh, as as a client, right? So, but I really was an employee. So I used all my wins that I was able to share out publicly already, and just repackage it a win because I did help a company grow up to 500 million yearly revenue in organic search, right? So that it was public out there that I was able to showcase that on my LinkedIn, and I mean, it's something where I just kind of reused what I was already publishing at companies I worked at to get my initial case studies, right? That was, but other than that, like obviously, if I start working with a client, for the most parts, if we're not engaged, like I'll ask them, hey, can I share some of these wins? They for the most part they give me like permission to go ahead and I use it because I mean. We're no longer working together, but I was able to do some certain things. But you can always ask your clients if they're open for case studies, and you can always offer them certain like favors in return, whether it's like discounts and stuff like that. But yeah.
Should a person who is building their personal brand also do some videos or like that? Or is it just more
Mhm.
of a,
Yeah.
I don't know, a hobby? Do clients come from videos?
Oh yes, 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 yes. Clients have come from, well, I wouldn't say just from videos. It comes from the content that I produce. So when you're producing content, like I said, when you want to get it uh, get mass appeal, like repurpose it everywhere. So there's things now where you have AI agents that can repurpose like syndicate your content on all other platforms. Even when you're live streaming, right? You can use Restream to stream to all the platforms, not necessarily just YouTube, right? So where are we streaming now? Are we on LinkedIn? Are we on YouTube?
YouTube.
We're
We
on.
are only on
Okay,
YouTube
we're on
because we
YouTube.
want to accumulate all views there. So
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they
yeah.
dilute, it's sometimes a few here, a few there, and we want the maximum from on one source.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. So depending on strategy, like again, that's strategic right there. But if you want like more mass appeal, you want to get out there, get syndicated, get it uploaded on with all the different channels. And I always say use video. Like I don't know if like in the book of like the SEO in 2025, Majestic puts out this book every year, right? For the past, I think you're in there too, right?
Yes, yes. I'm looking
So
for it, but I placed it on another table.
there you go. So like, yeah, see, they gave me a shout out here. I see a video show on the cover on the latest one. Thank you, David. This is something where if you read the past 3 years in this, I talk about video. It's always about video, 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 and it's something that even I feel like is even more important than now. Like if I was talking about 3 years ago and how to optimize for video in this book 3 years ago in 2022, and I'm still talking about video and why it's so important, especially for SEO too, right? Because when it comes to SEO, video takes up so much more real estate on page one. Like you got the carousels now, and you have like people are saying, and you have the AI overviews where they're pulling videos. They're just popping up everywhere. And right now, like I feel like you can always convert the video into other mediums, like a podcast, or even like taking the transcript and making a blog out of it. These are things that you can definitely do by just shooting video. And I feel like anyone can shoot video. If you don't want to show your face, do like Zoom videos, doing something, demonstrations and stuff like that. Just have your voice on it. But even now, you can even clone your voice and create some certain things. That's one of the things I did with if you take a look at the SEO video show, right? We have that. It's its own show, but I do have this podcast where it's my voice and reading, but it's a 5-minute summary of each episode. And if it's of my voice, but I'm using AI or my voice to like put it on as a podcast, just to do a recap. But it sounds like me. I asked my mom, and she couldn't tell. She thought it was me, so it was. I knew like it was good. So I used it to kind of like create a little mini podcast with 5-minute clips of and uploading it to the the thing I use is called Buzzsprout, and it syndicates it everywhere.
It was what I was going to talk about next. It's like what AI changed in how you were doing personal branding, and how it helps
Yep.
or doesn't help you, and what do you think about that? Because when with that AI evolvement, like personal touch, it feels sometimes even more precious. I don't know, more personal.
Mhm.
So, despite we can all be substituted with this or that, but
Yeah, no, that's exactly why also I talk about video when it becomes more engaging, more personal. I know like if I have AI, you can't have AI on here right now, right? With me being me, unless you like pre-sync me or whatever. But I feel like with AI being stronger, I use it for productivity and helping me, get things out there. But some people will even create like even like video content using AI as well. But at the same time, when you do live streaming and like live talking, and you can't be AI there. So like when this is where I'm transitioning for like from video now, where now I'm focusing on more on live streaming. So like I feel like right now, if I were to go back in time, like I would have got on the live streaming game even earlier if I could, because I feel like live streaming, you can't use AI. It's going to be you. It's going to be personable. It's going to be you engaging, right? So this going to be. It's one of the things where I would feel like live streaming is even more important now, because Google. They always say Google loves fresh content, right? What's freshest content out there? It's live content.
Okay.
That's why
I have a
sometimes,
question. Someone's wanted to start doing, and they take your advice, live streaming, and they want to have a guests, but he or she is not, put it this way, not very known person in the industry. How would you get your first, second, third guests, and how would you get big guests?
Okay, so say if I want to be on, obviously, if you want to build your own brands, it would be nice to get onto other people's shows and stuff like that. So this is where I actually would be on communities. I would use community, being part of your own community and being part of and using that. And if they're part of your community, you can actually, if they have a show, you can easily get on there. And then the thing is, if you can't get on other shows, start your own show and then get other people to get on your show. And this is one of the easiest way is that go to YouTube right now and see who's doing interviews. If they're interviewing, they'll most likely will interview with you. So like you kind of see, it'll be like kind of an easier part. Like that's one of the things where it's like, I remember like I didn't think I was scared to ask, like, and don't be scared to ask. Like I remember like one of my first guests was Bill Slawski, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if I can get him on. And all I did, I saw he was doing a lot of interviews. So I was like, maybe let me just ask him. So I asked him. And he's like, sure. See, it's like
He was such a nice person.
He was such a nice person. Not everyone like Bill Slawski. You know that Bill Slawski was absolutely exceptional, nice person. He was one of the first one I interviewed. I remember as well.
Yeah, see, I think he was I think he was my third person, right? See, so so the first people I interviewed were all like were coworkers or people who I work with and like and knew them from like conferences. So like again, your network should be your first guest, like people that you know. And then I kind of started thinking about like reaching out to people who are actually doing interviews, because if they're doing interviews, they'll obviously, it doesn't hurt to ask. But if you see someone that's not doing interviews, which and you ask, then that's where you can, there can be like not necessarily a problem, but you won't be able to. They probably will say no. For one example, one person who wasn't doing interviews at the time was Brian Dean, and I'll ask Brian Dean. He's like, I'm not doing interviews and stuff like that. But again, and then don't get discouraged when people say no. All right, because I'll tell you this. I even asked Neil Patel to come on, and then he didn't. I kept on asking, no response. And then it was through a network, through someone he knew, I interviewed that made a reintroduction, and then I was able to get him back on. So if you really want to guess, keep on going. Your network will always be will help you get there. But there's also one thing where, let's say, like Rand Fishkin, huge persona in the SEO industry. I sent him a few emails, no response, right? So check this out. I recorded a video of myself holding his book. I'm like, hey, I'm a big fan. I have your book. And I sent it. And if you attach it to Gmail, there's a little icon that shows up. So it's like that he obviously clicked on it because I got a response after that. And then that's how I was able to get him on. So like, be creative on reaching out. Send a video message. Like I did there. Again, don't use the people that you interviewed before, if they're buddies. Like, hey, can you introduce me to Neil Patel, or make the introduction. So this is one of the things where you can definitely use the people that you've already interviewed. Start off with your own community, and then again, don't get discouraged when you say no. Just keep asking. And I'll tell you this: there are a few people there that I'm still asking to this day who've denied me for the past 4 years, and I still keep asking just for the hell of it. Because right now it's kind of funny. And I was like, it's 4 years now. Like, why are you not responding to me? But I do it. So one of these days, persistence does pay.
By the way, guys, if you want to be here, if you want to be a SEOCharity live stream, you can pitch me, or you can pitch Olesia, or should I say, you can pitch Olesia, or you can pitch
Anton.
or you can pitch me, and we will look at what and probably you will be here. Yeah. If you have something.
Yeah, guys, Yeah, don't let the word pitch mean something, because I was thinking I had to create this whole thing for Anton, and I said, hey, I just want to talk about this. He's like, okay, great, let's do it. So it's not hard. Just put it. If you have a great idea, and you just share it. It's like you don't necessarily have to like put a whole like presentation together for that. Just come with a great idea, and if you're gonna bring value, like any place, that's a great way to just kind of do it. Like if people do ask me now, because I rarely take applications or people pitching me or anything, because I typically go out to find my guests, and because these are people that I kind of want to learn from myself too. So it's kind of selfish, because I'm like, okay, I want to learn something from him, so I'm going to go interview him. And so again, it's a great way to learn. I told you, I was like mentioned earlier, like when you interview people, you're learning and then also building your own brand at the same time. So you're hitting two birds with one stone, hitting two birds with one stone, and it's something I feel like live streaming, video podcasting. This is something that fastest way to grow your personal brand.
If you had to start some all over, like once again,
Mm.
but you already
Yeah,
have this
yeah.
knowledge and you already have this experience where you built your personal brand and it worked out and all, what would you have done differently, or what you maybe would not have been doing at all? Something that might not be evident, for example.
No, I kind of mentioned this earlier. It's like I always keep talking about video, and stuff like that. But if I knew about live streaming like even earlier in my career, like I felt like I would have gone that route. So, like I probably would have been. It's again, it's the fastest way to build a community. If you want to grow like an audience, live streaming would be something that would. Even though I did get it kind of early, right? Like I was one of the first live stream shows when I first started the SEO video shows. It was somewhat early, but there were some shows out there that were doing lives, and it was. But it's something I would, if I still would have started over. Like I know I'm talking about video, but again, it would be more of like just on the live streaming front of things.
And, one more question. Maybe you won't like it, but I was wondering all the time that I was looking at the information about you. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't answer if you don't like it. But I went to your
Oh no.
website and I started looking at, of course, how much your consultation costs, of course, and how to book it
Yeah.
and all these kind of things. And what I found out is that you have calendar attached to your website, and you are kind of very
Mm,
available, so anyone can go to your
mm,
website and book a call with you, and at any time, and
mhm,
even on Saturdays. So I looked up, and you had a few Saturdays, a few slots on Saturday, not too many, but still. So
mm.
does this availability, in your opinion, maybe if you put some your assistant or made it through your assistant and got its own like a slightly limited availability, might it actually harm you, or do you feel anxious about being so readily available all the time? So what do you think about putting this calendar
Oh,
with your availability online for anyone to see?
yeah, no. If you're a consultant, you want to get all the leads you can, right? So this is one of the things I do keep myself available. I don't think I may have some Saturdays open for, because if you look at my calendar, it's broken up into different things to where you can book me, whether it's a discovery call, a power session, a podcast call, or I even have one for clients to help book me on my calendar. And having a calendar is like I on every show, like even like this, I always say, hey, if you just want to talk, go on my calendar. Yeah, it's open to the public. You can book some time. I've actually, after a few interviews like this, and I mentioned that, I say, and obviously you can go to dre.chat.com, dre.chat will go directly to my calendar. Feel free to book some time just to talk and call. Because this is how I was able to create content before. I would ask to record some of my conversations with people just talking with me from book. These are just random people just asking SEO questions, and I would record it, and that's what I would kind of create videos out of these questions that were actually, it was creating content. So that can be like a content source for you too. Like if you want to just have some calls with people, like just talk SEO and record it and like just get the permission and then just post it.
That's so nice. So we have only 1 minute left, and I need to remind that for those who want to donate or to share information about us, here's a quick QR code, or you can see the information under the video. And if you want to connect with Dre, you know what to do now. You can go to his website and just arrange a phone call. And
Yeah, I'll pick up. I mean, I'll show up. I mean, there are some times I do some people. So if you do book it, please show up because you are blocking some time off because I'll sometimes get like a random book. And I was like, oh, I got, it was reserved and it show up. But again, I am an open book. I love talking and meeting new people. I feel like, again, your network is your net worth. It's one of the things we're just connecting. Go to Dre.chat directly to my calendar, Dre.chat, and then you can see it, or you can check out my website, paulandre.com.
thank you so much. Bye.
Don't forget the SEO video show. Check out the SEO video show every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, my new show, GBP Roast, you can search it every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So like right after this, exactly right after this, I'm going to be switching over to this channel right here, GBP Roast, to go live
Go
and talk
there,
about
go
local
there.
SEO.
Watch,
Yeah, go there
watch.
right now. Right now.
Keep watching.
There you go, guys. Guys, don't forget to check out SEOCharity. Hit that QR code right there. You can scan it right on the screen. Thank you again, Anton. I want to make sure that I'll help promote this even more on my show. Great cause. Thank you again for sharing my photos of my fur babies, Buddha and Sam.